This is a hard video for me to make because, as many of you know about me, it's very difficult for me to admit when I'm wrong. And what I'm trying to do today is to explain to everyone on YouTube and everyone in the Monster Hunter community the terrible thing that I've done to a certain section of that community. As most of you are aware, I've made a few videos about the topic of toxicity in the Monster Hunter community, and I've placed the blame for most of that toxicity squarely on the shoulders of the meta chasers, the DPS chasers, and the speedrunners within the community. In the past, I've explained that I believe the toxicity comes from the unreasonable expectations that those groups of people are placing on everyone else, regular players like you and me, players who get on the game and want to have fun, who don't worry too much about numbers or builds or optimizations or min-maxing and so forth. We like to play, sometimes by ourselves, sometimes with friends. We like to do cool things in the game and use the different game mechanics to have fun. Sometimes make cool videos, just enjoy ourselves and all of the wonders that Monster Hunter gives us. I want to tell the world that it was unfair. I believe it was unfair of me to place the blame on the meta community within Monster Hunter Rise. It was unfair for me to place the blame for the thousands, millions of negative experiences that people have had with this game and with the communities outside of the game itself. It was unfair for me to blame that on such a small group of people. And now you might be asking yourself, what has led to this change of heart? What has led you to see the error of your ways? And a recent conversation on my Discord server has really brought things into perspective for me. And it's almost shameful for me to admit this, that I've done such a thing to this group of people. If you're still confused as to what I'm talking about, well, let me just kind of clarify it a little bit for you. And maybe I'm the only one who hasn't figured this out yet. Maybe I've been blind to the reality of this situation. It's unfortunate that no one clued me in the comments, but I'm not going to pass the buck. I'm not going to blame anyone else for this. This is completely my fault, my error, okay? I didn't realize something about the meta community. I didn't realize that what you were doing, I didn't realize the truth about what you guys were doing over there. And if I had known earlier, I swear to you, I would never have made these toxicity videos. I would never have said a single bad thing about any of you. I would never have blamed any of you for any of this. Whether you believe me or not, that's up to you. But I'm here speaking sincerely to everyone on this issue. And I hope that you can accept it when I say I am deeply sorry for intruding upon your group role-playing session. I apologize deeply for making it seem as if the fantasy world that all of you been acting in, and very well, I might add, across forums, across subreddits, across Discord servers, in game, out of game. I didn't realize that you were all still in character. I didn't realize that this role-playing session even existed. If I had known any of this, my channel would look very different right now. Now, it seems like a lot of people already knew this about the meta community, about the DPS community, that you guys are engaging in a massive role-playing session. But again, no one told me about this, not trying to take the blame off myself. But I just wish I had been more aware of the situation 2 years ago. I may not have even created this YouTube channel if I had known about this. Now, if anyone out there still confused as to what the hell I'm talking about, maybe there are others out there like me who don't know this, who aren't aware of this, who are as ignorant as I am, who just assume everyone's playing the game and talking about their experiences in the game and talking about the reality of their experiences in the game. Maybe there are others of you out there like that. And so to keep you guys from making the same mistake that I did, this is a life-changing mistake, okay? I'm just going to put it out there. To keep others from making this same mistake I did and going down this path, I'll just kind of explain it to you as best I can. Again, I'm just learning about this morning as I'm making this video. So my explanation may not be as good as what some others in the community could tell you. It seems like this is what's happening. There is a group of hundreds, perhaps thousands of people who are playing a game, a role-playing game. Now, if you're not familiar with that, think Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, everyone should be familiar with it. Dungeons and Dragons is tabletop RPGs. Maybe you've heard of that, TTRPG. It's where a person pretends to be a character, typically in a fantasy setting. Sometimes it's a cyberpunk setting. And they talk to each other in a group as if they were that character. They're playing a role, okay? It's like acting, but with stats and rolling dice and probabilities and stuff. So it's a lot like improvisational theater, I guess you'd say. And so there's a group of people doing this, but here's the catch. It's a Monster Hunter role-playing session. And it's not an in-game. It's not like in-game, like the lore and the story wise, right? It's like really deep, okay? It's like truly a meta role-playing session. So what's happening is there are people who are pretending to be really good Monster Hunter players. The people in this group are pretending that they're better than they are at the game, and they're pretending that they can do things that aren't even actually possible in the game. And I understand they're not trying to fool anybody. I get that. I get that now. They're not trying to fool the rest of us. They're playing pretend with each other. Okay, does that make sense? So I was never invited into the group role-playing session. And so as an outsider, I'm looking, not making excuses, okay? I accept full responsibility for my actions. I'm trying to explain to you how this all came about, okay? So I was looking at this group role-playing session as if it were real. Imagine that. Imagine you walk into a comic book store and you see people sitting around a table and they got their little playing cards out. They're laying them on the table and they're casting spells at each other and doing mind warping incantations and conjuring beasts, and you kind of walk past the table to go look for your special Pokemon cards, and you overhear what they're saying, and it sounds so weird and strange and unbelievable to you, and then you just go over to the table and say, what the hell are you guys talking about? There aren't even monsters here. What are you, you think you're psychic? You have psychic energy or something? Imagine how rude that would look, right? Imagine how ridiculous you would sound If you had done that, you'd probably get kicked out of the store. That's what I did. Okay, obviously not that exact thing, right? But that's what I've done by making the videos I've made and a lot of the statements that I've made. That's essentially what I've done to this group of people. And for that, I am deeply, truly sorry. I've learned a lot more about this community as a result of this situation. And while this is a process and it's an ongoing process, I'm early in the stages of atoning for this, even fully trying to understand all the implications of my actions. One thing I can tell you right now that I'm going to do to be a better person is I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be the guy who goes in and shits all over your role-playing session. When I see people making very weirdly exaggerated statements, making claims about having done things that just aren't possible in the game of Monster Hunter, I'm going to be more alert and more aware that I might be in the presence, probably am in the presence of an extension of or a session of this group role-playing meta game that's going on. And I'm gonna do better. I really am. I hope in time that you guys can learn to forgive me. And I hope that someday I'll be able to fully make amends for what I've done. While it may be a little too early for me to ask anything in return, I think it's not unreasonable for me, and in speaking for the hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of other people who aren't aware of this situation. I think it would be reasonable if I could humbly ask, whenever this role-playing session is happening, whether it's coming into my Discord server or in my comments or just anywhere out there. I know there are some Discord servers that are dedicated to this role-playing session. I get that. If it does spill over into other areas of the community, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, I think it would be very helpful for all of us if there was some alert, some awareness that you could help us become aware that it's happening so that we don't make the mistakes that I've made. And maybe in time we could all learn to join you in the game, because honestly it sounds like a lot of fun. I think having 1,000 DPS would be amazing, but I know I can't get that in the actual game. But what would be cool is, since the game itself is pretend, it's not a stretch for me to just pretend that I could. Maybe you could help me do that. I think it would be amazing to be able to speedrun an AR 300 Valstrax in 1 minute and 36 seconds. That would be amazing, but I know I'll never be able to do that in the game. Maybe I could pretend to be able to do that. That's exciting, right? Maybe I could create a Palamute build where with 2 Palamutes, I could get upwards of 240 DPS just from the Palamutes alone. I know I'll never be able to do that in the game, but maybe I could pretend that I could do it in the game. And we could all pretend together. I know, I know I'm asking for a lot right now, and I'm not even asking for that right now. There's a lot of healing that has to happen first between us, and I'm going to do my best to make that healing happen here, okay? And I hope that in time, I will at least earn your forgiveness. And this is some distant point in the future, and if the answer's, excuse me, very emotional right now. If the answer for the all rest of time is no, I will accept that. But someday, I hope to be able to participate in the fantasy role-playing session that so many of you are enjoying right now. I can dream, right? I can always dream. Thank you.